I think I was earning like the whole hype of the first one had died off completely, and I think I was doing about $5 a day, and that was my wages.
Yeah.
And it's like I've got a problem here.
Yeah, I need beans.
I need something. I'll go for one bean. Right?
Yeah, and a loaf of bread.
Just a little bean, all on its own. That would have filled me up. I would have been happy with that.
This is the Rising High Extended Tea Break, the game dev podcast bringing you the best practical, actionable advice for indie game developers. Brought to you by RisingHighAcademy.com. The kettle's on, so let's go listen in.
Well, hey there, and welcome to episode 16 of the Rising High Extended Tea Break. My name is Kevin, and I'm joined, as always, with Gilly. Hello, Gilly.
Hello.
How are we today?
I'm good, thank you.
Alrighty, so straight into things. What is on the board today for the podcast?
On the board, Miss Ford. There was a programme about that, wasn't there? What programme was that? I can't remember. It was a game programme. Okay. Into today's podcast, how about finishing your game?
Oh, yeah.
And 5 common pitfalls that will stop you getting to launch day.
Finish your damn game. So we see this come up quite a fair bit.
Yeah.
And it's a funny one, this, for me, because for me, just a bit of I'll tell you a little story. I used to work for what was then the largest online party supplier in the UK. And fun fact, that's where Gilly and I met.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I worked, and we got made redundant, basically, which means I lost my job. And
within a week,
yeah, really fast.
It was fast,
and the redundancy money was bare minimum, and I'd already had an app out in the store, and I was in the situation where it was time to start and go off on my own, or go and get a job.
Yeah.
So for me, finishing was I had to get product out there.
You had no choice.
I had my hand was forced. Mm-hmm. Now that's a very different situation from the hobbyist, or where you're doing this in your spare time, where there isn't any actual repercussions of not finishing the game.
That's it. If you're doing it for a hobby, then time doesn't matter.
That's right.
It's not important.
And it's important to say that's okay too.
Yeah.
But this is all about avoiding certain aspects so you can actually finish your game. Because one thing is absolutely 100% is that you will never get any success or earn any revenue with your game stuck on your hard drive. Now, as I said, for me, it was very different because I had nothing to live on. I had no money. That's it. It's like it's now or never kind of thing. Yeah. Or go and get a job.
Yeah, I know you were working on your apps and that while we were at work. Obviously not in the same time, but
a little bit.
In the
Let's be
evenings,
honest.
you were mainly concentrating.
Yeah, that's right. So I had the side hustle totally.
Yeah.
But this came out. This came out of the blue, like you said. It happened really fast.
And you suddenly had to make a decision.
So although it was a very different situation when if I didn't want to work on whatever I was working when I got home, I didn't have to.
No, that's right.
It was my personal choice to do so.
It depends what your objective is.
That's right. It's knowing your why, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about the creation for me. I love the creative process of doing stuff and starting side projects. Always have done. Had websites, a whole lot. I'm always, as an arty-farty type, I draw immense pleasure and fulfillment out of creating stuff, But when you turn it into a business situation,
it's totally different.
It's totally different. I mean, honestly, they always say, if you ever want to kill your passion, do it for a living. Because it's, if you love building games. It
turns into being totally time driven.
Absolutely. And this is why we have our constraints of how long does it take us, and we put 6 weeks on it.
Yeah.
Because I need money to survive. And when you've got a really cool thing and it's no one can see it, then you don't make any money.
No.
And so I just wanted to start off there really, because it does throw a different light on it for us, just because we're doing this full time, trying to earn our life from it. So it is a different situation from people doing it for fun or whatever. But even though there might not be any sort of repercussions financially, or things are, mortgages to pay and all that, maybe that doesn't come into it. Getting to finishing stuff is a super important trait to learn and have in anything that you do.
Yeah.
It's like...
even if you're doing it as a hobbyist and it takes you years and years, it's still nice to have a product at the end of the day that you can launch.
Exactly. I was trying to get an example of something like, it's like when you go and paint a room in your house, right?
Oh dear.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's great at the start, isn't it?
Yeah, and halfway you go.
That's right. But you have to finish it.
Yeah, you do.
Otherwise,
your room's going to look rubbish.
Your significant other would normally tell you that you need to. But that's another story. But yeah, so it's just like you've got it's anything you start, you want to be able to finish it. You want to be able to finish it. And if you're running an indie game business, this is really important to understand. Be a finisher. Be a finisher. All right, Gilly, we got a list, I hope. And
yeah, we have.
Let's go from what was the title again?
Finish your game. Finish your damn game. The pitfalls that will stop you getting to launch.
The pitfalls to stop you. Okay, so what's the list?
Number 1, we've got shiny object syndrome.
Yes, shiny object syndrome.
I like this new one, and then, I like this new one.
I like that one.
I'll ditch that one because I like this new one.
Yeah, normally with shiny object syndrome, it's like you see something and you think, that's kind of, I've got a better idea now.
Yeah.
I've been working on my game, it was great, and it is all right, and it's getting to that point, it's just like, and then you get another idea and you go, that's a way better idea, I'm going to go and work on that one. And then what happens? Your game project gets shoved in that graveyard folder of half-bodged, unfinished stuff.
To never see the light of day again.
That's right, and that's a shame. You might as well quickly finish it and then put it up. But shiny object is definitely a thing. I have this quite bad, but I've managed to curtail this now because I know it's really unhelpful and really distracting.
Especially if you get bored with your new shiny object quickly.
We talked about this before, where you're project surfing. What was that on? That was on another one. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember which.
But yeah, that's come up again, and that's what happens. You go from project to project, and
they're all half baked.
And you put all this time and energy into it, but you never actually end up with a finished product, which is crazy. Because you've got bored of it or whatever, you've come sort of what's the word? You kind of like you've lost the enthusiasm on it, and these shiny objects are taking it away. But the thing might be really good. It's just that you've seen it. You've been living your game for so long, you've forgotten that it's actually pretty good.
It's probably better to write down your better idea, maybe.
Well, that's what. Yeah,
and then go to it when you've finished.
Yeah, exactly. Now the other sort of side to this as well is that you try then to crowbar your better idea into the one you're building, and you go, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe if I put that in there, and then your project expands, and you forget the actual reason of your game. It gets so convoluted because you're crowbarring all these better ideas in.
It's not just that, but what you're trying to crowbar in might not quite fit.
That's exactly my point. Yeah, exactly. It gets really muddled and lost, and you end up with a really hodgepodge of game ideas all into one. But yeah,
I suppose it's different if you're working on something new and you can't get it to work how you want it to work.
I think that's different. It's slightly different, yeah. I mean, there's definitely well, that comes down to more like your skills, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it does.
I mean, at the moment, I'm learning some new software, and it's really difficult to push past the initial learning curve of that, because I know if I can get to a point where I can sort of like just dive in and start doing something, but it's really difficult when you take on anything new like that, because my want to just do all the cool stuff is very distracting not to forget what you're talking about, which is exactly my point in a roundabout way of saying.
The trouble is with you is you want to run before you can walk.
Of course, yeah.
Because you have ideas you want to get down, but you have this learning curve first. That you have to go through.
Exactly. So this was something about shiny objects.
Yeah.
And we've completely gone off track straight away, which kind of is slightly ironic.
It's basically don't start something new and then ditch it and start something else new, because it's just a roller coaster to go on.
You don't get.
And then the trouble is with that, if you've backed up kind of like 6 projects and you're sitting there thinking, well, I can't, this isn't working either for me, or what was number 1 about again, and then when you revisit it, you think, I can't be bothered.
And your skills get improved as well. Yeah, exactly right. So this is all about that. The whole point of this one is to try and get into that mindset of finishing something. Now it could be yes, there's shiny objects, and this is I've now got a better idea. It's far more. It's way better to finish off what you're doing, and like you said, write it down. Right. Shiny objects is a very real. I suffer from this quite a lot, but I have definitely learned to ignore it and, like you said, write it down and move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, the need for perfectionism.
Oh, yeah.
You suffer with this one as well, I think.
I know. Yeah, we did. We definitely touched on this. Yeah, we definitely touched on this on the polish, I think, episode 15. This is where you just you fuss so much, it actually hinders.
Yeah,
and I don't.
But that's the difference as well between a project that you're just doing for a hobby and one you're doing maybe for a studio or a living.
Yeah, exactly.
You can tweak away till your heart's content.
It will never be
your
perfect.
Own hobby.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we definitely mentioned this a fair bit on the last one. So let's skip past that one. Go to episode 15 where we go a bit more into perfectionism and the 87% rule. Check out episode 15 for that one. I think that's a better episode that goes more into it, and I think that we don't want to sort of go over old ground here so much.
Okay, number 3, fear of failure.
Yeah, this is a funny one. This I always thought this wasn't really a thing.
I think it's a very big thing.
I think it's massive, actually, because
I think if I was doing a game on my own, I'd suffer with that. I don't think I wouldn't want people to say it's rubbish.
Yeah, you got to get if you're in game dev, you got to become thick-skinned, like pretty much immediately. I think of this one for us because from Rising High Studio, we've released 13 games and 13 Apple features. Now, the Apple feature was our goal with every game that we've released out of the studio so far.
Now we're frightened to do number 14.
And honestly,
it does it sets the bar so high.
We've set the bar so stupidly high for ourselves now. Launch days are horrific.
Launch days have always been awful, but they are getting worse.
Well, that's why I don't make any more games now, actually. I want to bail out on 13 and call it a day. No, it is a real thing. It's just... It
is. It's that thing that it's safe not to release.
It is very... Yeah, you keep in a safe place.
Yeah.
While everything is on the inside and not out in the big wide world.
Completely encased in your comfort zone.
That's right.
Yeah.
And, of course, if your goal is not to really... finish anything, then you're sound. But if your goal is to put games out in there in the world, which you should, because you should want people to play them, regardless if you're doing it for any financial or any other reason. If you're building games, your goal it should go without saying that it should be you want people to pick up the game that you've made and enjoy it.
Yeah.
There can't be anything more basic than that. That should be the goal, the unsaid goal. But the fear of failure, the fear of not people liking
it's very real.
and it's like criticism as well.
Yeah.
You know, people have a fear of criticism.
What's everyone going to say about it?
That's right. I mean,
what the review is going to be like.
I generally don't give a crap about reviews and stuff like that.
I think we've got better at that.
Well, I don't read them.
Yeah, see, I have in the past, and it can pull all the walls down that you've built up.
Honestly, that is the number one surefire way to set your day up to be one of the really bad days is go and read a bad review on something that you've built.
Yeah.
It's horrible. People are horrible, even if you have...
On mobile, especially on mobile.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's not... you're right. I mean, certainly on the app stores, they're definitely unfiltered.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, and brutal, some of them.
Without a doubt. But that is not exclusive to the app stores or anything like that. I mean, that's in general. But it is enhanced on the app store. And it's so easy. You know, the ones I hate is when someone says, I don't like this game. Something happens and I really didn't like it. And you know damn well that's not even my game. What are you talking about, right? It's not, that is incorrect. Now, at least on iOS now, you can reply. You can respond to the reviews. But that's kind of a double-edged sword as well, because I personally don't want to be engaging in... I'm trying to think, of course we want to talk to our players and help them out. I'm not saying that I don't want to do that, but what I'm saying is sometimes it's like responding to trolls.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't. You should just you should ignore
let
it.
Them go, yeah.
That's right, because you can't win with some of these people, and you just can't win. And a lot of the time, it's a time suck, which is our most valuable asset we have is our time. So don't sort of get involved in these troll sort of comments.
You have to grow a really thick skin.
You do.
And, you know, half the time you just think, well, you know what, if you don't like it, just delete it.
That's it. That's right. Yeah. But anyway, what are we talking about? Fear of failure.
Fear of criticism.
Yeah, fear of criticism. Yeah, it is a real thing, right? So you said it earlier, which is absolutely 100% true. Whilst your game is on your hard drive...
It's in its safe little bubble.
It's a safe thing. Nothing can happen. Right? It can't flop.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be a complete disaster. People can't hate it. But on the flip side, you might have just made the next masterpiece, so you can't see the success.
Yeah,
you can't
true.
see the great comments. You can't see that people love it. And there's absolutely no reason not to release your game. And fear of failure can definitely stop you, even if you don't actually associate that with being a reason. Internally, that is a real thing that you should try and overcome by just going through the process of releasing a game. And yeah.
Because there's financial as well, you know, it might be a financial...
Well, in hindsight, the thing is, we've certainly had games that have done better than others, that's for sure. Thankfully, all our games have been ROI positive. However, as I said right at the beginning, I learned very early that there was way more on the line than my enjoyment of building games. I had to ship. Yeah. I've got to pay bills. So it was just completely ingrained in me to make dev time short and ship games.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a fun fact that probably no one really knows. You'll probably know it. My first app did really well. We launched at Christmas, got top 4 in its category, crushed it. Christmas Day, back in them days, was like literally Santa did come. And I made a ton of money, right? Now, my second iPhone game got caught in Apple review for 3 months.
Oh wow!
Now this
I do remember.
Now this is before the 24-hour, 48-hour review times from Apple. This is when it was not uncommon to submit your app and get a reply 2 weeks later, only for them to quote some random number of why your game is not gone ready for sale. It will be something like 4.7.2, something is misleading. And you go, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
and then you
English.
go, hi, thanks for that. Can you please explain exactly what it is? Because I don't really know what you're doing.
No, and then it's C4.2.
2 weeks later, it's just like, exactly. And they say the same thing. And
same
it is,
quote.
you can't get hold of the review team. You phone them up and you can't. It was a nightmare. I ended up speaking. I actually had a little bit of an argument with the woman at Apple who this was after 3.5 months as well, remember? I think I was earning the whole hype of the first one had died off completely. And I think I was doing about $5 a day. And that was my wages.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I've got a problem here.
Yeah, I need beans.
I need beans. I need something. I'll go for one bean. Right?
Yeah, and a loaf of bread.
Just a little bean, all on its own. That would have filled me up. I would have been happy with that. But the point is that this was my livelihood now. So I was in a lot of trouble because I couldn't release my product, and at the end of it got approved, and there was nothing wrong with it, which is even more frustrating.
Yeah.
But the point is, I know now if I act quicker, the quicker I finish it and submit it, is the faster. If there's any problems, that can get resolved. Now it's a different landscape now for the review team. We normally go up within minutes now. But the point is, if you know that you've got potentially a 4-week window now to get a response, the sooner you finish, the better. And that was, although it was painful and scary at the time, that did train me very well to I've got to move.
Yeah.
Because if there's a problem,
unbeknown to you, you could have probably produced another game in that time.
Well, that's right.
While you were waiting.
Exactly. Now it's a little bit. It's kind of the same now. When if you go to pitch Apple, they want 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So there's kind of that as well. But the point being here is that if you finish your game and release it, you have more chance of it doing well. And come out of the safe zone and put it out in the world. I have no idea, Julie. I'm so sorry. What are we?
It's your fear of failure. I think we should call your fear a fear of launch day.
Yeah, I do dread launch days.
That is a real fear.
And what's really interesting is that we've now had 10 Academy members sign deals.
Yeah.
And the ones that released so far, we've had 5 Apple features from Academy members, and me and Julie are super proud of everyone. But when I know that they're launching their game, not even our game, I am a nightmare. I can't handle it. I really can't handle it. I
said that to you the other week. It's not even your game. Yeah, I know, but
exactly. I just feel it because I know how.
And it's usually a week when Apple kind of refreshes late.
Oh yeah, they do some weirdness. Yeah, I know, it's always that. But yeah, so yeah, five Apple features out of the Academy from our members. So we're doing something right there. So I'm super proud. But yeah, even on those days, I get super nervous. It is scary.
Yeah, it is.
It is scary, especially
it's the end of everything. It is. Yeah,
it is. But
it's like pageant day.
What's silly is that that is just the start. As well, it should be just the start. You should be iterating and using updates. The launch is just now it's out there.
Out there, yeah.
I mean, if you think, Steam have got this really good because they do early access.
Yeah. And you don't have to go through the green light anymore.
No, just pay $100 and off you go. But yeah, that's the whole premise of early access is that your game isn't finished. So if you're doing Steam titles, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's a good platform to get on.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to sort of a slow build on your game.
Well, that's it. It's you can't just have it's got to be finished to a point.
Yeah.
But for the content, you can keep adding to it and tweaking stuff. So I really prefer that rather than this big super pressure launch day. Yeah. And the other thing really is that it should be, Apple features are just a multiplier. It shouldn't be your strategy to head for an Apple feature and now I've won the lottery. It doesn't work like that. But you just get free marketing, right?
Yeah.
So the launch day, I mean, this is why doing soft launches is a nice idea as well. Because if you think, I mean, Steam have got this really good because they do early access. So if you're doing Steam titles, it's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you can get the feedback and all the benefits of soft launches. However, it kind of cuts that pressure off a little bit.
And you can do pre-order now too on Apple.
Yeah, pre-order. Yeah, they're really smart to get early feedback.
Yeah.
In terms of download numbers. Because you can see how many downloads you get. I believe we haven't done that yet. Well, let's try and get this back on track. It's me as well. I'm putting this all over.
Okay, let's go to number 4.
Let's go back. Let's go. So number 1.
Back. Number 1 was shiny object.
Yeah. Number 2.
Number 2, perfectionism. We kind of covered that in episode 15.
Yeah. Number 3.
3 was fear of failure, which we just finished. Number 4, discipline, distraction.
Oh, yes.
Set aside your focus blocks of time.
Now, this is especially, it is, especially if you're doing this as a side hustle, is that you really want to be blocking out times where you work on your game. And all you're going to do is work on your game. Now, when not many people talk about indies, as an indie game developer, you're an entrepreneur and you're a business owner, right? It's not just about Xcode and graphics and stuff, right? We have to. So when we go to work, no one tells us that it's tea break.
No, you don't clock in and clock out as such.
Well, you don't.
And 10 o'clock isn't tea break. And
that's right.
12 o'clock
I mean, it
lunchtime.
could be. It depends what sort of culture that you want to run.
Yeah.
But most of the people I know are normally solos, small team perhaps, but generally solos or outsourcers remote. And therefore, you're in charge of your own day, which means you're in charge of your own time. Which means if there's ever tasks that are, like accounts, I'm going to say it, like when we have to do our accounts, I would rather be boiling my eyeballs than doing the accounts, right? I really don't like...
That can be arranged.
That's not very nice, is it? But yeah, so you get my point. It's tasks that you don't want to do. And this is where distractions come in.
Right? So easy to side
I don't want to do this bit. I'll just jump on Facebook for 5 minutes. Or... I've been avoiding this bit because I know it's going to be difficult. Let's just jump on Twitter and see my feed. Or let's just pop over here or do that or whatever floats your boat.
Anything but.
Yeah, anything but what you've got to do. And that is why this discipline of distraction you need to get a hold of and block in this absolute focused time where you are going to tackle your hardest tasks or certainly a specific task of what you've got laid out in your game. Now, I think the best thing... Now, there are certain programs that you can install that will actually block out websites for you. Right?
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's one called Rescue Time, which is pretty cool. Check them out. We are not affiliated or anything, but that's a really popular one. And that will monitor your activity. So it can tell how long you've been inside Xcode or Unity or whatever build box or whatever you're using. It will tell you, actually, you sat down at your computer for 3 hours and 65% of that, you were looking on Instagram. It's just like, that's not very focused.
So is that done on like a daily thing?
You can set it up to do all sorts of things. It runs in the background on your... It's I think it's definitely available on the Mac, pretty much available on Windows as well.
I should think that's quite shocking.
You really get to work out because you might sit down and think, I did all right today.
Well, you could be thinking, well, I've only been on there a couple of times, a couple of minutes at a time.
That's right.
But those minutes add up.
It's like the
and if something tells you you've been on it for 2 hours, actually,
exactly. So you just worked out I've been sitting here for 8 hours, and 2 hours of that I was on Facebook.
Yeah,
but
easily done.
It's like the Secret Eater program.
Yeah.
You seen that? Where the people it's called Secret Eaters. I don't know if you get it where you are, but it's about these people who they snack all the time.
They put on weight and they actually say, I don't understand why, because I eat healthily. So they actually have a camera crew that follow them.
That's right.
That spy on what
now.
They're having.
What's really interesting about that thing is the fact that they have to write down every time they eat, and although they're religious on doing that, often they grab something
don't realise they've done it.
and don't write it down. And they just like it's almost like they had no idea that they did it. And it's kind of the same when you go on social media. It's this distraction. So sites like Rescue Time will block you. You can say, right, I'm only allowed 5 minutes of Facebook every day, and it will count down. And as soon as that 5 minute comes up, you click on to go Facebook and it goes, no, you're not. No, don't work.
How cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Right, so I recommend that. That's a good one. I'd never use those things because I don't actually think, for me and my personality type, that doesn't help.
No, you take no notice of it, or you wouldn't install it.
I wouldn't install it because I feel, for me, I prefer to learn and train myself to do it.
Yeah.
Now, when I found when I was looking around for stuff to help me to build that habit up, I printed out all the websites that I was going on and stuck it on the wall. And every time I felt distracted, I'd look up and I'd see which ones they were and go, no, I'm not going on any of them. And I'd look up and I'd glance out and then get back to work.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped for me. So anytime you get distracted, you look at that thing on the wall and say, no, I am not going on any of that. And over time,
you train yourself.
Yeah. Now, the other part of this was the focus time, and this is scheduling out your game dev, especially as a hobbyist in an evening or something like, say, like Tuesday between 8 and 10 is my game dev time. Nothing else. Get your spouse on board saying, look, this is what I want. Don't open the door. You know, I don't want.
So everyone knows you don't want to be.
That's right. Take the kids out. Say daddy or mummy is not available. They're gone. Right. But still, you could even take yourself out somewhere and just say, you know, like everyone's got their pastime. So that you know, make it your own game dev club.
Just make sure it's not the pub.
Well, that's not a bad idea. But no, that's exactly. So setting this focus time and scheduling it can be a real benefactor in finishing, because you get focus work done, you get so much more done.
You'll have people saying, well, Kevin told me to focus a block of time on going out, so I went to the pub.
Yeah, that's not quite what I meant. But no, kudos for doing it. What's interesting about this one and the distractions is like, we had this the other day and our internet went out.
Yeah.
And it is shocking to see how reliant we are on internet.
Totally reliant.
It's like you just
totally
cut off my
you
hands.
couldn't even go and play a game.
Can't play a lot of the games because they need a server connection to load up your account and stuff. And you need to adopt that mentality when you're in building your games. Turn all this other stuff off. I mean, our place never got so clean because there was no internet, because I had nothing to do. So I went and cleaned everything, right? But the point being is, just turn it all off. Right? Whatever works for you. If you've got, you want a program that physically stops you, check out Rescue Time.
I suppose a lot of people just find it a very hard thing, this discipline. It's a hard thing to learn and to train yourself to do. It's hard to do.
Yeah, it is. But it's a habit. It's just like, and once you see how much you can get done in like an hour of solid focus, you'll be shocked. Yeah. I mean, you can get a hell of a lot done in that hour.
And of course that can make you feel better too. You know, if you've hammered making up your game for the last 3 hours and you've head down and you've not been distracted and you've got something done and it looks really cool, then
it can be a massive motivating factor.
That's a very big boost.
Yeah. So this is about this sort of thing about finishing your game. If you can get your discipline and not be distracted, your progress, like you just said, your progress can be greater, which means it's faster. It means it gets you closer to the goal of actually finishing your game. Yeah. Okay, what's next? rescuetime.com. You'll find that over on the show notes page at risinghighacademy.com/16 for this one. We'll have all this written up and stuff, but that's rescuetime.com. Check that out, and that'll be all linked up over on the website. Okay, Jilly, what's the last one we got here?
Okay, we've got number 5. We're going to touch on this. I know you've suffered with it quite a bit in the past as well. feeling burnt out. You know, maybe
burnout,
you're just burnt out.
I get this a ton. And it's interesting to me now for burnout. So the best way I can explain burnout for me, and there's probably some really smart people who've got a real like fancy way of doing this, but for me, it's almost like a form of depression when it comes to building games, because it's not the only factor of burnout for sure. But I wanted to take burnout in relationship of building games, and it's kind of like you wake up and you don't want to look at it. You don't want to talk about it. You just don't want anything. The thought of it just makes you like, ugh. And you're just absolutely sick to the back teeth of it.
Yeah.
And that,
getting it to launch days just doesn't seem...
That is a killer to move you forward to actually finish it. Because as soon as you finish it, that all goes away, right?
Yeah.
Because you're done. So that is a real hindrance of burnout. Now, I felt this many times. Normally, when I've been working too hard on it, and it's funny for me because I can feel when burnout's coming, and I know that my solution to that is to stop, get some really good distance away from it, and now I put a real high value on chill out time and relaxation time and social time and recreation time, basically. Like, that is really beneficial when it comes to recharging. Like, get some separation from the project.
It's the same as everybody else, you know. I mean, you've learnt to do Friday evening is your official
Friday. There is
out.
No internet Fridays.
It's kind of like the same. If you work 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, everyone looks forward to Friday and the weekend. But when you're working for yourself or you're working from home, you don't have weekends.
No, that's right.
You don't have a set number of days you work, and then you've got 2 days off. So you can end up working 24/7, but you don't realise you're doing it.
No, that's right.
And all the while you're pushing and pushing and pushing, you suddenly think, well, when was the last time I actually just sat and watched a film?
That's it.
Or went out for a walk.
That's right. I mean, that's a really good point about running a business as well, because it is. I mean, I do work 7 days a week.
It is 24/7.
But that's what I think is interesting, because it is 7 days a week, but you make sure it's not 24/7, because that will lead to burnout.
Yeah.
Now, I do work every single day now, but it might be a couple of hours on a Sunday if I'm doing things with my family and stuff, right? So it doesn't really matter the success for us is the fact of freedom. We can do whatever we want. We make our own rules. But that is also, the success and the curse at the same time, because it means there's no off time. So you've got to be really careful to dedicate some off time and family time and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, for Fridays, that is one of the days that we have inside the academy. We do our live Q&A and workshops every Friday afternoon. Each and every Friday, we come on, we do a live session. As soon as all the questions are done and I shut up, normally goes on for about 7 hours anyway.
Yeah, it does go on.
I can't shut me up. But no, it's good fun. It's a real good fun.
Yeah. It's a nice chill to just hang out with other.
That's right.
Other devs and
we
members.
Put a massive,
really nice.
massive high emphasis on and the benefits of being in the community.
There's a lot of banter that goes on.
Yeah, it's good fun. Yeah. It's a good crack. Anyway, but to your point is that once that call is finished,
you're off.
That internet is off, and it is without a doubt that is the end of the week.
Yeah. And you have a ritual dinner.
Yeah.
There's a bottle of wine opened, isn't there? And you have ribs.
Yeah, normally have some ribs or something nice, something easy and quick kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's actually called that now, isn't it? Ribs and wine.
Ribs and wine, yeah. It's even got its own label now. But yeah, so, it's that kind of thing. But that's set aside the time. And it's funny because by calling it that, It's made it a thing.
A thing.
And now I don't.
It's a thing you look forward to as well.
It is because, like you said, it's just that 24/7. Now, pulling this back into the burnout thing. That is one way to avoid it by as much as you can, blocking the time to do game dev. If you do it all the time like we do, you need to do it kind of like the other way around.
You need to block out hours where you don't touch any of it.
Now, it's funny now because most of my time and our time right now is running the academy. And we haven't built anything for a couple of months now. Well, when was the last time it was ages ago we haven't built a game now because we've turned our attention to running the academy and helping the members. But I'm trying to learn some new stuff as well. So I'm kind of in the situation now where my day job, it's got nothing to...
finding it hard to fit in.
And it's really brought back to me now. It's like, this is how most people do it when they work in 9 to 5. And I know I've got to block in time to learn this new thing or it's never going to get done. And that is the same as people spending time building their games, which is essentially what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to set aside time to build games, and that's what I've done. And I've got a couple of hours set aside where there's no distractions, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay. A funny old one this week.
I think it's an important one, though.
It is. I think
it's one everyone falls into at some point.
Yeah, I think there's various... I think for me, the takeaways that I want is just like, you've got to finish your damn game, even if... you're not seeking money or fame or whatever. But finishing stuff is a really good trait, be it in games, be it in life or whatever. It's always good to finish a project and learn from that process of finishing.
Yeah.
So even you're never going to be always happy with it, but done is better than perfect. And
it's the same with everything, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Whatever you're doing, if you're making clothes or you're writing a book, if you never finish any of it, then
what's the point?
There's no point.
Apart from drawing satisfaction from the process.
Yeah. But there's an even bigger satisfaction to saying, well, I've written that book.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot to be said. So yeah, it doesn't have to be there's definitely not a financial reason, and even if it is building for the love of the process and the creating things, finishing is always a good thing to do. And certainly, if you want to make money with your games, you got to finish and shit your damn game, right? Because it won't make any money living on your hard drive.
You can't move on to your next new shiny object until you've done it.
Well, that's the rule. That's the rule.
It is the rule.
And that's why we've got a book full of ideas that we've never acted upon.
Yeah.
But we have got 13 games in the store. I think that'll just round that up for today, Gilly. Obviously, you can find all the stuff over on the website at risinghighacademy.com/16. But let's have a little bit of a wrap up for now.
Okay, finishing your game. Your 5 common pitfalls. Starting at number 1 is your shiny object syndrome. Don't start something new and then ditch it and start something new and then ditch it and start something new.
No, don't do that.
No, don't do that. Number 2, the need for perfectionism.
87%.
Yeah.
87%. Check it out, episode 15.
Number 3, fear of failure. Don't have a fear of failure. We all know it's safe not to release, but just push yourself that little bit further.
No one's going to care, to be honest.
You'll feel a lot better for it too.
That's right.
Number 4, discipline of distraction.
Turn off social media.
Blocks of time.
Yeah,
either way, blocks of time to work and blocks of time to enjoy yourself.
Turn the internet off.
Check out rescuetime.com.
Rescuetime.com, yeah.
5, burned out.
Yeah, try and identify burnout.
Yeah.
And if you really can't stand the look and thinking about your game, time is a great healer on this one.
I think out of all of them, burned out is the one that can suffocate you.
It's horrible, burnout. It's horrible. Okay, so I hope that was kind of helpful. A little bit of a funny old note there, talking about all that sort of stuff. But you won't fall into any of that because you know what to look out for and you know the 5 common pitfalls to avoid.
I think a lot of the takeaway is just you're not alone in it. everyone has suffered.
That's right.
Like this.
Absolutely.
In whatever line of work you're in.
Yeah, and this stuff will happen. This doesn't go away. Doesn't matter how long you do it, it doesn't go away. But knowing how to identify it, and whatever triggers you to move past this, you'll learn and take to the next one. So full show notes available at RisingHigh.com/16 for this one. Go check it out. Full show notes written by Gilly up there, and all the previous episodes as well with the archives back from the beginning. Hope you enjoyed the show today. If you do, please smash the hell out of that subscribe button. We'd love you to get notified each and every time we got a new episode out, every single Tuesday. And yeah, if you're feeling really generous, a nice little rating and review would go an awful long way. So that just about wraps it up from me. Remember, do check out the Academy if you're a game dev and you want to get around smart, like-minded people to help you develop your games, get feedback, all the good stuff, and much, much more. So that just about wraps it up for this week. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Speak soon.
You've been listening to the Rising High Extended Tea Break. To learn more about the resources mentioned in today's show, or to find out more about the Rising High Academy, visit RisingHighAcademy.com. That's RisingHighAcademy.com.